come a long way. And it's people like you and I and all of us are going to make a difference. And we are making a difference. And we start making a difference even from grassroots up. That's important to happen. As much as it needs to be to go top down, it also needs to go bottom up. And we find a way to meet together. What can I say? We've got such lovely, wonderful panel here. You will be hearing their stories and their achievements. And as I was, as Molly was sort of talking about the panel, I said, wouldn't it be great if later on, down the track, we perhaps have a publication of a book on the women's achievement from Papua New Guinea here in Victoria. I think that would be wonderful because, as we said, the telling of the story is so powerful, highly powerful, and it's stories like that that need to be told. And I know there are lot and lot of stories that are not told. Each and every one of us has a story to tell, in more ways than one. And I'm here I'm also referring to the lovely men here too, and everyone. Can I say, I was at another celebration of International Women's Day at the beginning of the week at a local government level. And I was speaking to a couple of ladies, and one of them, as she was introducing herself to me, I'm just a student. I said, you are more than just a student. We've got our own living experiences that we are bringing with us. And that is the living university. We are a vehicle of knowledge, which we have gained through our own experiences. I remember back in the early 80s, when I started eventually coming out of my shell as the traditional housewife, I started doing some reading. Now we're going back in the early 80s here. And I remember coming across this book. I forgot the title of the book, but I'm pretty sure I jotted it down somewhere in my notes, and I want to trace it. And one thing that struck me was, if someone asks you, what kind of job do you do? And she was referring to the traditional housewife here. Say you are a domestic engineer. That really stood with me and still sits with me. And I thought I'll share that with you, because what we are doing at home as a wife, as a single mother, as a partner, as young people, as children, is just amazing. And yes, even children. I can see some young people here, which is wonderful to see. And you are contributing a lot in your own way. I haven't got the statistics, but people who stay at home, in terms of the economy, you are contributing so much to our economy in more ways than one, besides the other social economy that comes with the social impact. I mentioned before the gap, and I thought I'll share some with you, some statistics regarding the gender gap. For example, gender stereotypes affect children's sense of self from a young age. Okay? Suffice to say, look at the portrayal of women in the advertising industry and how women are being portrayed and society's expectation and how they need to look. Boys receive 8 times more attention in the classrooms than girls. Isn't that interesting? Girls receive 11% less pocket money than boys. And children classify jobs and activities as specific to boys or girls. Okay. Young people, gender stereotypes affect behavior, study choices, ambitions, and attitudes about relationships. Girls are less likely to take part in organized sport. Girls are less likely to do advanced maths subject in their final years of school. And 1 in 3 Australian women over 15 has experienced physical violence. As for adults, Victorian women earn 87 cents point 6 to every dollar earned by men. Education is another interesting one. Women make up more than 2/3 of the world's 796 million illiterate people. According to global statistics, just 39% of rural girls attend secondary school. This is far fewer than rural boys, which is 45%, urban girls, which is 59%, and urban boys, which is 60%. Every additional year of primary school increases girls' eventual wages by 10 to 20%. It also encourages them to marry later and have fewer children and leaves them less vulnerable to violence. And the list goes on. Speaking of violence, domestic violence and gender equality are very much rooted in this gender gap that we are talking about in all aspects of life. When I was going through the education section, something else that came to my mind was knowledge is power. And it is so important that we lift ourselves up and move on from being victims to thriving. Okay? Domestic violence is quite a scourge in all communities, across all classes of people. I remember when I worked with Lifeline, the first call that I took, and it was this woman who was so highly distressed. And I found out that she was the wife of a person who had a profession in the top police force, top profession, or one of the top professions. So it goes across all cultures, across all professions, okay? And it's something that we're really mindful of here in Australia, in Victoria, within our local government also. Now, as already been mentioned, the Papua New Guinea Women's Association has got this wonderful grant from the local government to run this program regarding domestic violence and gender equality. I'm sure it is highly beneficial, and I really admire the people that will be participating in this program. Okay? I really do, because I'm pretty sure you will find it highly, highly beneficial. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the executive and even Lisa Timby, who has put on a lot of work into this project. Brimbank Council is also highly, highly supportive of this project Indeed, they wrote a letter of support, and the council will continue to help this community in more ways than one. And on my part, I will be doing whatever I can to keep helping the community also in my role as a councillor. I haven't said anything about myself because many of you are very familiar with my story, but for those of you who are not familiar with my story, I've got quite a story to tell, and I'm pleased to say that I am telling it in my memoirs, and I'm pleased to say that last week I became a published author. And the book is entitled Power Over Darkness, a journey of self-discovery, trauma, and healing. And looking back, I can see there was a lot of issues there that emanated because of gender equality to start with. But I'm very pleased that I have reached this point because it was quite challenging for me to open this new chapter in my life. So I'll be talking to you about this book and its contents as we go down the track. The time, unfortunately, does not permit, but I want to wish you all a happy International Women's Week, because we now moved on to International Women's Week rather than the day, and may we celebrate our achievements. Again, each and every one of us, each and every one of you has achieved so much in your own way. Acknowledge it to yourselves, and I'm sure that you will gain a lot from it in more ways than one. So let's continue with the celebrations, and I'm very much looking forward to our panel and in sharing their stories. Thank you very much.